following reports that both Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema will not be changing the filibuster rules to allow for voting rights to be passed, CNN hosted an explosive discussion that featured Jonathan Kott, a former senior advisor to Senator Joe Manchin, and progressive Nina Turner. Here's how that went.
These people are cowards. They are soulless cowards to hold up a daggone rule. Filibuster is a rule. It's not written in the Constitution. It's not a right. It is a rule, and they're standing in the way of it. So this is nonsense. They worried about what the Republicans going to do. Let's take care of 2022. Let's do what Democrats can do right now. They have the power. And my message to President Biden, now he done wasted a whole bunch of time with these folks, being diplomatic, inviting them out to the White House and to time out for it. He needs to hold a press conference, let them know. Either you're going to be by my side saying you're going to be with me and getting rid of the filibuster, or I'm gassing up the jet on your behind, and I will be in Arizona and West Virginia directly and let the American people know who's standing in the way of my entire agenda, not just voting rights. So President Biden, gas up the jet and cancel student debt.
Hello, somebody. Yes. Gas up the jet and cancel student debt. Love it. So now, look, that's what she's talking about is, hey, why don't you go and do what Bernie Sanders did? Make a case to the people of West Virginia. Look, Manchin is supposed to represent West Virginia. Kyrsten Sinema is supposed to represent Arizona, the actual, not the donors, not the owner donors, but actually to represent the people. And so if you, apparently they're not doing that. In fact, the Arizona Democratic Party is like, no, we are consistently pushing back against Kyrsten Sinema. She does not represent our positions. We don't know what the hell happened to her. But as soon as she got into office, she got paid off. And she is not representing the average Arizona voter. She does not represent her constituents. In fact, she's very, very likely to lose her next election, at least in my opinion. And so, look, she's basically telling Biden, go make your case. Go make your case. Because if you go right to the people, well, it turns out that Joe Manchin, while he does get paid by the owner donors, he's still got to get votes. And his voters, look, they overwhelmingly supported the provisions inside of Build Back Better. They overwhelmingly support progressive priorities. The stuff that they call, too far left. Not too far left. We can't go far left. This is too liberal, too progressive, not realistic. No. The people they're very, very concerned about inflation, and it's very, very dangerous. No, they want policies to help them survive through inflation. Policies like childcare, policies like lowering the cost of their prescription drug prices. That kind of stuff that will actually help them be able to better manage through inflation, which has been caused by corporate greed. That's what's been going on. So now, speaking of those policies that are very popular in West Virginia, that's stuff that Joe Biden ran on. And what Democrats in Congress need to do if they want to stay in power. And look, from what it looks like right now, they don't want to stay in power because they're not doing the things that they're supposed to. In fact, already it looks like the midterms are going to be an absolute bloodbath. Democrats are scrambling, but what are they doing? Well, they're blaming progressives already. Hillary Clinton, I showed you that video the other day. Hillary Clinton comes out and says, well, we should just tamp down our expectations. Because, you've got to have Democrats that win. Well, what good does winning do if, again, we already have a majority? What good does winning do if you refuse to do the things that the American people put you into power for? Okay? Ridiculous, right? David Brooks wrote an article, garbage article, saying, you know what, Biden, maybe this will convince Biden to go back to the center and stop being too far to the left. Ah, yes. As if Joe Biden is anywhere near the left. And of course, unfortunately for them, and for us, blaming the left is pretty much all they have. That's all they're trying to do. And so now I say that because here's Kott. He's going to come back and he's going to do the normal corporate Democrat thing and say, oh, no, you've got it all wrong, Nina Turner. No, Democrats, historic change.
That's not how Congress works. President Biden has a long history of working with senators. He knows the best way to do it is work with them, have constructive conversations. That's why he had the two of them over to the White House last night. They're going to keep working together. He's had a great first year. He's had a historic first year, and Democrats should be celebrating that and running on that in 2022. Gassing up the jet and heading to West Virginia and Arizona is not actually going to get it done. There are ways that people can get things done in D.C. Senator Manchin and Sinema proved that with a historic infrastructure bill that they just passed. That's how you get things done. Slogans and, just yelling isn't the way it works. So if you want to actually get something done, sit down with them and keep talking. And that's what Senator Manchin's going to keep doing.
Give me a break.
Give me a break. Yeah, she's right. That was utter crap. Total. Oh, slogans and yelling. That's not the way things work. Well, I tell you what, Joe Biden, he did plenty of slogans and yelling. By the way, Democrats did all sorts of slogans and yelling against Bernie Sanders during the Democratic primaries. I'm with her, stronger together, build back better. How dare you progressives? No, you need to know your place. We're going to yell at you. Really? I thought slogans and yelling isn't the way things work. No. It's going down, and it's sitting down with Joe Manchin and talking to him and basically giving him everything that he wants. That's obviously the way, and not just him, by the way. It all comes down to the donors and how much money they give the Democratic Party in corporate donations. And that's it. Political donations, I should say. And so, no, this guy, complete and utter horse crap. Historic progress. Give me a goddamn break. No, here's the thing. He gives the infrastructure bill as an example. Part of the infrastructure bill, while there are some good things in it, it's basically a lot of corporate handouts. Some of these handouts, by the way, involve privatizing public infrastructure for corporate use. You know what that means? It means toll roads and bridges. So your historic progress is now that, in 10 years or so, because these infrastructure projects they take years to get started. And again, benefit these private companies. In about 10 years, when you start seeing toll roads and bridges pop up, are you going to think, historic progress? Thank you, Democrats. No, you're going to be pissed. And that's not going to help you during an election, during a midterm. My God, it's so stupid. And again, none of that is going to help the average person feel like they're doing better in this country while we're dealing with 6.8% inflation, stagnant wages, and Omicron, the variant. Yeah, of course, right? Now, of course, they'll come back and say, but you don't understand, the economy is doing so good. It's red hot. Look at the jobs. There's so many jobs. Look at the job numbers. It's so great. Look at all the openings. You realize that a lot of these openings are in fast food and in hospitality, places like that. You know why? Because you had a lot of people not losing, but leaving those jobs because they're utter garbage. That's why. And by the way, you also had a gigantic number of boomers that had retired. And a lot of that, part of that's due to the pandemic. Another part of that is 800,000 Americans have died from COVID and continue to die from COVID. So I don't know what you're talking about when you're saying, great progress, wonderful progress, historic. No, what historic would be is canceling student loan debt. Medicare for all, or at least expanding Medicare to cover vision, dental, hearing, 12 weeks of paid family leave. Those are some of the things that might be considered historic. What we have is historic failure. That's what we're doing. Now, Joe Biden, I mean, he ran in this ridiculous thing of, oh, I can unite Democrats and Republicans and we can get things done. We can do bipartisanship. Well, how's that working out for you? When you have to pass pretty much everything through budget reconciliation. Obviously, he has absolutely failed in that notion, and here's why. It's because it's not doable in this political climate. The right wing has absolutely no desire to work with you to do anything, unless, of course, it helps to, again, the owner donors. That's the only thing that both the right and the Democratic Party can actually agree on, is whatever helps corporations, and that is because we live under corporate rule. Now, one more thing here. I've got another video of Turner responding to this, and again, she's going to continue to bring the fire.
There is a woman in Chicago. Her name is Martise Chisholm. She sent me a text last night saying how sad she is. You know why? Because she is of that child generation that grew up and watched her foreparents. Her great-grandmother was murdered. You hear me? Murdered on January 11th, 1966. And you know why she was murdered? Because she was standing up for voting rights, ran off the road by white supremacists and decapitated. So there are people who are still alive today who were either children during that time or elders during that time, fighting like hell in heaven to get voting rights. And here we are in 2022 kissing the behinds of two senators who could care less about the people in this country. So Jonathan, spare me. That's not how you're going to get things done. Yeah, I am outraged with a whole bunch of other folks who need to be outraged about what those two and others who are hiding behind them are doing. So President Biden, gas up the jet on these people.
Goddamn right. Goddamn right. Now, one more thing here. Again, everything that she says is fantastic. But I just got to give credit to CNN here. I know that's rare. But they actually did bring out a progressive to make a progressive case. You don't see that very often, especially during primaries. I wonder if there's a reason for that. But anyway, look, I couldn't think of anybody better than Nina Turner to send out that message. Kott is a great example of the pecknesses of the current Democratic Party, the corporate wing that has taken over. They claim to be centrist, they claim to be moderate, but they're anything but. They're basically mouthpieces for corporate America, the business community. They don't want progress. They want excuses. And progressives, people like Nina Turner, we're done with excuses. We want action.